Welcome to the, my goodness, January 16th meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commission here in Augusta. When you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, the flag's right back to the building. No. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to take a minute and introduce everybody here. Starting over here is Jenny Chambers, the head of public works for the county. Roger Balls is our chief administrative officer. Candace Payne is a commissioner. Tom Rolfe, I'm chair of the commission this year. Andy Hunthausen, he's the vice chairman of the commission. Sheriff Dutton and Deputy Bragg. All right. I'd like to have you all sign in here, if you would. There's a sign-in sheet. There's a copy of the agenda so that everybody knows what's on the agenda. We're going to. In fact, we've got some new folks here. And would you mind passing that around one more time? Make get everybody's name on it.
They really don't want to be here. No, it's better if they don't hear.
Yeah. I should mention if you wish to speak, if we have to record all these meetings now, so we'd ask that you go to the podium so that the camera can pick up the comments. And but state law now requires us to record the meetings. So.
They did not pass that law.
All right, we're going to go right into reports, and we'll start off with the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Beck.
Thank you, got it. Welcome everybody, I'm glad you all came to see me. I was worried that there wouldn't be anybody to visit with. Work with me here, work with me. Doesn't get any better, I'm telling you.
That's true.
So, what did Batman say to Robin before they got in the car? Robin, get in the car! Oh, yeah. Why can't T-Rex clap? Why can't T-Rex clap? Arms are too short. Oh, not bad. They're dead. They can't. All right. Just to lighten the mood. There's others. They just get worse. That's all. So, been a while since I was up here. Got to see all of you. Got to talk about the sheriff's office. Got a couple of things to go over. First thing that I want to talk about is those of you that know Congressman Downing has came and talked to me a while ago about money. And this area up here can get very difficult to communicate out of. So we have quite a few cars for here in Lincoln, and that we don't have a radio signal. And Helena, we'll have a call, we have had a SWAT call where we didn't have any communications. The guy drive off into the river, we had no communications, other than just car to car, and we have to set up a relay. What we've done is we went to a company and asked them what technology they have that could interface from Starlink into our radio system. So it exists, and they said, well, it exists, but it's expensive. So would you ask a congressman if they would introduce an appropriation for you for like $1 million? I said, well, how much is there? I said, well, there's $3 million. Well, I'll take $3 million. Because you always get a haircut every time. Oh, my hair messed up? That does it to me every time. Anyway, you can smile at that.
Bring your comb.
Yeah, yep. I had a comb, I just couldn't part with it. Anyway, yeah, I tell you, they just get worse. So you saw it start laughing and let me just get on with it. Anyway, so the He did. He took it up and he introduced it along with some others, and Lewis and Clark County got a haircut. We're down to $500,000 for this radio equipment. We won't be able to equip all the cars, but we'll be able to equip the cars that are in the outlying areas and those at the search and rescue liaisons. It's a link that goes from satellite and then into our radio system. We couldn't afford it any other way. You've already paid the taxes, so some people say, well, you know, we didn't raise local taxes, you've paid them already. We understand it's tax money, you've already paid it, so it came out of a way bigger pot. So your taxes did not have to be increased to buy the radio equipment. That's good news. Now it cleared the House. It's got to go to the Senate. So it's not all given yet, but it did get passed in the House. It's $500,000. Probably get about 11 of them, I hope, by the time we get done. So that's the most exciting news that we have. I mean, I want to have a cheery note. Your detention center, your detention center, I expect you to do better. We actually have. We were busting at the seams. Pretrial programs have jumped up, and they have pretrial is that they haven't had their trial yet, and they could be in our jail. Generally, they don't have enough money for bond, but in 2018, you voted for this, and we've made good on it. So pretrial programs have about 324 people on their rolls right now, where they have to check in twice a week. They have to go to programs. The rub is, for some people, that they don't have to pay a bond. So they think that they get out. That's true, but the judges have already said yes or no to whether they want to do that. It's not automatic. The judges have to give the hominy-dommy to it. So, there's a chair up here if you want. You're closer, you can hear my jokes there. Anyway, so those are, that would be 324 plus we had 132 in the detention center this morning. Add that up, and that's what we would be faced with having our detention center. Your detention center is 164 beds. That's how much we did with the expansion. So this morning we were at 132. We've made good on what we said we'd do. You guys sign in? Good deal. Anyway, so those are things that we're working with. We're hiring people. Some people are moving on, retiring, things like that, just like any job. We've had a rash of juveniles stealing guns out of cars, and we've caught a few. So if you are having your gun in your car, I'm pro Second Amendment and anybody else, but if you're going to leave your gun in your car and you think just because, oops, they don't do that anymore, do you? That you rolled up the window, that your gun is safe. They're breaking the windows, and they're getting in there and stealing guns, and they're using them in crimes. So now we're finding out there's a real market for them in the cartels. The cartels are taking them, and they're taking them to Mexico, where they're selling them for pretty good money. So they're using juveniles for the reason is if they get caught, then there's less penalty. And we've designed the system that way to try not to just have hardened criminals when you're a little kid. But cartels figured that out, and I'm talking about drug cartels. That's who is here in our county. So if you're wondering, and these people screaming about why are we taking people away that are here illegally, well, that's part of it. That I tell you, I'm going to give you a little scenario. Some of the people that have got here and that are illegal aliens have been brought here by the cartels. The illegal alien, paid a lot of money to get here. So you'll see them go to Walmart on Thursdays. That seems to be the day, or you can go on Wednesdays. You'll see a lot of Mexicans there, and they're sending money back to Mexico. They're not sending it to the family. They're sending it to the cartel. So the cartels won't kill their families. So I kind of feel bad for them. Even though they're illegal, they're frightened. But they got here hoping for a better world. There is a way that they can become legal. That's what we want them to do. go in, go through the process, become legal. The illegal part causes this problem. It's the cartel's got a good business model. They really do. Because if you cross them, they kill you. That's it.
Or
You
your
don't-
family,
What's that?
or your family.
Yeah.
Because even if these guys
Right.
become naturalized,
Yep, that's what, if
family's
they
still
don't,
down.
they don't pay off, they just start killing the family.
Don't they still kill them
What's that?
if they're legal and they don't pay, they probably still kill them anyways?
Possibly, that one I don't know, but I've got good friends that are sheriffs down on the border, and we're working, together with this. So, it's something that it affects our community, because the crime wave, how they move and that kind of stuff, they're not the only ones, but they're just ones that are come to the forefront of our mind. That's all the good news I have. Well, no, wait, hold it. I got some greater news. Yeah, baby, all right. I want to introduce to you your new Augusta deputy. Come on out. Yeah, that's right. Come on. I know you're not that handicapped. You can do it. Come on now.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. What was it?
Yeah, there we go. This is Alicia Bragg. So I've known her for quite a while. She used to be with the Highway Patrol. Then she came over to us, and she's been a deputy with us for a year or two. Year and a half. So she said, I want to go to Augusta. I want to be the resident deputy there. And she's well-trained. She understands the job. So if you think, oh, you're going to pull a fast one over her, you're not. I'm just telling you. Her family's back in Helena, but she keeps them straight too. So with that, Deputy Bragg.
Hello.
Good morning.
What a rousing hello. They're all asleep yet.
Like he said, I was a state trooper for 10 years, and now I'm in a much better place, in a better uniform. Hello, DOJ that's watching. If anybody knows that story. Anyhow, been up here for a couple weeks. I'm up here for at least the next year, maybe longer. I am living up here. I'll go home on my days off, because I do have a husband and a 16-year-old for 5 more days at home. She's going to the Youth Challenge down in Dillon for the next 6 months, so my husband and I adopted her a few years ago, and if anybody's ever adopted a kid or adopted a teenager, you know how challenging that is, and so she's moving to the Youth Challenge for 6 months, so we'll see how that goes for her. But I am a child safety seat inspector, so if anybody needs a kid seat inspected after it's installed in the car, I'm certified in that, just recertified it with that one last night. I'm a drug recognition expert, so prior to working for the sheriff's office, I was on a travel squad for the Highway Patrol, and all we did was DUI enforcement. So that was my wheelhouse for many years. I know Augusta's a small town, but we can walk, so tell your friends. What else? I have already had complaints about the speeders. I check radar every time, if I'm in my truck, my radar's on. So I did last week bring a couple of my friends from the Highway Patrol up, and we worked traffic on 287 for a while. So, and we can't discriminate, so if you're speeding, you're getting pulled over. So if you have called in the complaint about the speeders and you get stopped as a speeder yourself, that happens. Same with, I took a complaint about stop signs, and the person I pulled over for the running a stop sign was the person who called in the complaint about the stop sign. So I was like, well, you did this, and he says, yep, I sure did. So a little tidbit about me. My great-grandparents lived in Gilman. My grandfather was born in Gilman, so if you know the Austins in Gilman, that's my family. So third generation around here, at least. What else do you want to know? Anything? If you need me, call the sheriff's office to find me. So, like he said, communications are bad. If I get over to Lincoln at all, it's not too bad around here. Lincoln's terrible. I don't have any radio service in Lincoln at all. And then usually once the computer system in our vehicles go offline, we don't get them back. So even restarting it or whatever else like that, usually it would take me driving to Helena to get it to reconnect to the internet. So sheriff's office is the easiest way to reach me. Then they can try to find me on the radio. Our substation in the Lincoln office, I had the radio tech up here last week. There's no radio service in the substation at the fire hall at all. So he was up here looking at that last week. So if I am in the fire hall at all, anything that I have to do on the computer, like I said, continuing education or anything like that, if I'm in that office at all typing reports, I don't have anything. So it's a big dead zone in there. So sheriff's office, dispatch, non-emergency number, or 911 if it's an emergency, but that's the easiest way to find me. So any questions?
Will you be open to stopping by the school here in town and establishing that relationship? Okay.
I was in a couple weeks ago with Ryan, but we were there after hours, so yeah, I'll stop in. I do have a fob, so I can get in anytime, so.
For the radio part, the Augusta repeater was not working. Well, the Augusta repeater was working, but it has a connection up on Rogers Pass. And something happened, the gizmo wasn't talking to the Frammer stand, and the Frammer stand wasn't relaying them. That's how much I know about this, so just play along here like I got it. So there was a connection that wasn't happening at Rogers Pass. The radio guy was up here, spent a lot of time, and sent me pictures on how he had to get up to Rogers Path, chainsaw and all of the blown over trees, but got your radio system working. So that, they can hear you. You may not hear them, but the last I know, they can hear you. If you call and they use the Augusta repeater, they can hear you. And he's still working to make sure that there's that two-way communication.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Well, could I just offer a friendly reminder to everyone, we're required to video these meetings, and if we can ask everybody to be at the podium, and otherwise you won't be captured for what's being recorded. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the sheriff?
Now, the
Before we
ambulance
move on.
is using its cell phone to talk to the dispatch.
I was just gonna say, the crash that I was on last week, they had to call 911 to tell dispatch that they were even on scene. So that communication there is really strained, so if you just bear with us on that one, we're working on stuff. Like I said, I had the radio tech up here last week, trying to work on things, at least to make things better for me. Ambulance, I don't have anything to do with the ambulance, but yeah, when they were having to call 911 to tell dispatch that they were even on scene, and I can't hear them at all.
Why did this all of a sudden just disappear?
I don't know.
You're cheating, you didn't have to come up here.
Yeah, yeah. If you've got something to say, we do have to have you come up so we can get it on the record.
God bless you, Uncle Roger, I'm done now.
All right. All right, thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. We're gonna go on to the Public Works Department, Jenny Chambers.
Good morning. For the record, Jenny Chambers, Public Works and Planning Department Director. Just to have some updates, just general road department updates, and then a couple projects we're working on with bridges that I kind of want to highlight today. First off, the weather's been kind of strange this year. Typically, we would be out plowing snow. That would be the winter report for the winter, and that's what we would say for the next 3 or 4 months. But we haven't had that much snow, and we're geared up, we're ready to go. So we've got sand hauled up to Augusta. We've got our seasonal hired on, just in case Lewis needs any help in this area, so we're ready to go when there is snow. In the meantime, we've just been doing other just general maintenance. So Flat Creek road repair, we just passed Black Rock Road on Flat Creek. There was a big soft spot. They hauled in over 200 cubic yards of pit run and repaired that. That included trucking with Lewis, but we also brought up Helena's staff to help him with that particular project. So when there are those type of special projects, we do bring staff up from Helena to assist Lewis. We also did some grading. We're doing grading, which is crazy to say in January. Lewis has graded mostly all the alleys and gravel streets in town. In addition, some spot grading on Warden, Dry Creek, and recently completed the side of Highway 21, concentrating just mainly on the bad areas. So he's just going around and hitting the bad spots as he needs to. The other thing that we've been trying to recover countywide on was the windstorm that we had several weeks ago. We had a lot of signs up in the Augusta country that were no longer there, that have been repaired and replaced. In addition, I know some homeowners were struggling working with some of the tree issues that they had on their private property. I know Lewis helped push the tree out of the right-of-way onto the property if it was the private homeowners, but we're not allowed to do any kind of tree removal on private property, only within the road right-of-way. So that's basically what we did up in Augusta, was sign repair and then assist with getting the roadway cleared off. But we had a lot of trees by Lincoln on Stemple Road, up around the Lincoln country. Wolf Creek got hit really hard, and then some of the Helena Valley. So we're just finally recovering from some of the tree removal based upon that windstorm. I know MDT is going to be here to talk about Highway 21 project, but because of that effort, we're also evaluating what that means for Bob Thomas and Emerald Lane. Just means that it is not necessarily going to be a detour road, but we're going to gear up and make sure that if there is snow, Bob Thomas Hill drifts quite a bit. So usually that's the last thing on Lewis's radar, to get that road plowed, but he will make an attempt to try to make it more of a priority this year based upon that project work. And we can talk about that more later too as things move on. We can talk about that later. I've got more things to talk about before I open up for questions. But I'd like you guys to hear MDT's update on that first, and then can certainly assist from a county perspective to answer questions on Highway 21. For bridges, I got some exciting news on the bridge front. Just a reminder for Augusta Clemens Bridge, county was successful with receiving a $750,000 Montana Coal Endowment Program grant. In addition, $793,700 in Senate Bill 536 funding. So we believe that whole bridge project will be completed with the grant money associated with those projects. We are, on Tuesday, the commissioners are going to hear a task order with Great West for $269,000 to start that design and development of that project for public outreach, and with the focus of trying to get construction anticipated in 2027. We anticipate approximately a 95-foot span bridge, a 24-foot usable width, but that's all pending a hydraulic analysis and really determine what we need for being above the high water mark area in that location. The first step is that the consultant, Great West Engineering, will be up here to survey it, weather dependent, as soon as possible to get some of that survey data. And then once construction starts in 2027, it'll be about a 120-day construction window. And then the bridge will accommodate highway legal loads and have a 75-year design life. So we're pretty excited about that, but that's finally moving forward based upon that high priority bridge. The second one that I'm gonna ask you guys for assistance on is the Bird Tail Bridge. I know last year we had a lot of conversations on Bird Tail when we had to, it's a weight restricted road, and we had to either close it completely or find out an alternative situation, and that's when we added the Jersey rail to do the serpentine to prevent heavy loads on that particular bridge. But in the meantime, we have a detour in place for heavy loads while the normal traffic goes on Bird Tail Bridge. So it's gonna allow us some time to really gear up and get funding for that project and get that replaced. We're attempting to apply for a Montana Coal Endowment Program planning grant. That's the first step to get to a preliminary engineering review that would allow us to submit a grant application in the 2027 legislative session in order to get grant funding to replace that bridge long-term for construction. So a bridge PER will include inventory evaluation of the existing bridge, determine what revenues are needed for improvement and maintenance, develop a project plan list, develop an implementation plan, and then look at potential funding sources for implementation of that project. We anticipate that the grant application is gonna be due May 1st, 2026, for Birdtail. So what we're asking for is if you, and we've been successful for projects in the past by getting support letters from the community. If you can get a support letter for landowners in the area that are impacted by Birdtail Bridge, or even just Augusta Chamber of Commerce or others, there's a draft support letter that we wrote that's up on the table. And then our county engineer's business card, Dan Carlin, if you guys could get a letter drafted, facilitated around town, try to get more letters that are impacted based upon Birdtail. We'll include those in our planning grant application to show why this is a priority project and why they should support it at a high level. So that's the Birdtail Bridge project. We're just trying to get a planning grant to get a PER in place to then apply for the 2027 Montana Coal Endowment Program construction grant, and then try to find the funding so that if we stay on this course and are very successful like we were in Augusta Clemens, we're hoping that would be a construction period of 2029 to get that bridge replaced. So just try to be proactive on the planning. And the last thing I'm gonna end with is, since it's the new year, 2026, there's a weed calendar, and it's not just a bunch of noxious weeds. There's some nice photos in there, but you feel free to take one, and when there's any extras, I'll just leave them over in the senior center for folks to grab. But that's what I have for just Public Works. Happy to answer any questions, but it might be better to hold off on Highway 21 questions until MDT gets a chance to get an update, and I can assist them with answering questions as needed, so.
Just reiterate, if you would, where those letters of support should go to. Should they go to you? Should they go to, or how should we say that?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, yeah, Commissioner Rolfe, you guys can do the letter, and you can send it to me, and I'll get it to Dan Carlin as county engineer, or Dan Carlin's email's up there as well, and his business card. So just make sure it gets to the Public Works, whether it's myself or Dan Carlin, would be helpful.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And the Public Works Department has done a great job of getting extra money out of the feds and the state. And so if you give them the support with the letters, it'll just give us a little more boost to get things handled. We'd appreciate it very much. Is there any, are there any questions on Public Works right now, and then we'll have questions on the work that's gonna be done out here on Highway 21 when we get done with that report.
I'd like to make a comment. One of the things I've learned about county government from Jenny, term shovel ready. And so they do all these studies and they send out letters and get all this collected. So when we have the opportunity to get some money to fix the bridge, it's ready to go. And the other counties aren't on the same page we are. They don't have it shovel ready. Our Public Works Department does, and so we get the money and our roads are in better shape because shovel ready is the key.
That's right.
That's all.
All right. Any other questions for Public Works at this point? All right. I don't see anybody from Forest Service here today, so nobody there. And the Public Health Department is not represented today. So let's go ahead and ask the folks from the Department of Transportation to come up and give us an update on what's coming. I mean, this is Jim Winger. If you'll introduce the rest of your crew and tell us what's going to happen.
Sure, I will do that, sir. Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be here in front of you today and the audience here today. Jenny, thank you for deflecting all questions to us.
Happy to help.
I am Jim Wingeter. I am the District Administrator for the Department of Transportation here. I've got with me today Rich Hibl, who is our projects delivery engineer for the district, and Luke Limberg, who will be the project manager for this project coming up here this summer. I'm going to let these two discuss what's going on and answer questions. They know a lot more than I do about the inner workings, but please feel free to ask questions and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you. Rich?
Sure, you bet. And I will just start with an overview of the planned schedule for the project. Keep in mind, this is a plan. Things kind of change depending on weather and runoff, things like that. But The contractor intends to start at Hogan Slough. There's a large box culvert going in there. They intend to start that March 2nd. And that's looking like 2 to 3 weeks worth of work before they get that excavated, put back in place, and get some gravel back on the road there. From there, they intend to move to the Elk Creek overflow and Elk Creek areas. There's a lot of environmental restrictions on Elk Creek itself. They can't actually get in the water there until May 15th.
They got good luck.
What's that?
I said they got good luck, it's dry.
Yeah, I know, right? So we'll see what happens by then. But we are, they intend to dive into Elk Creek overflow with that bridge, and they can actually get into whatever they can do and not get in the water on the Elk Creek Bridge itself. So they intend to work those two structures. Schedule is pretty tight, but they've got it all put together such that they do intend to have that Elk Creek structure completely done and the overflow structure before the Augusta Rodeo. So, yeah, that's the intent, is we wanna get this bit of work done before that milestone, and then, of course, the rest of the summer, we should have some traffic. There may be some intermittent one-way traffic with flaggers as paving goes in, but we'll just see how quick they can get all that put together. So, as far as an overview of the schedule, that's what we've got right now. It's really currently what we're looking at. We talked to them this morning about it. So, that's where we're at. Luke, anything to add on that?
I don't.
I have a question.
Sure.
Go on, hey.
Come on up front. And just say your name and then, go ahead and ask the question.
I'm Justin Krause.
There's the camera behind you.
Anyways, they're worried about getting people to town for the rodeo, which I understand. We've got 8 kids down there, they gotta get to
They
school.
can't hear him.
Right.
If folks don't stand at the podium and speak, the
Okay.
video will not capture.
I'll move over here.
We need you to
All right,
stand.
well, anyways,
Say your name again.
my name's Justin Krause. Okay, we're worried about getting people to town for the rodeo.
Yep.
That's fine, I understand that, businesses, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But we got 8 kids down there, they gotta get to school.
Yep.
We gotta get up there to have cows out. And the solution is, okay, we're gonna go around by the Hooterite colony. Louis cannot plow that road if it's wet.
Right.
So what do? We go all the way to Bowman's Corners or to Fairfield to get our kids to school?
Unfortunately,
That's a
yeah.
pretty bad answer for this, what you guys have for a job. I mean, that's not a solution. You gotta go 25, 40 miles
Mm-hmm.
to get 3. And I own that ground where you're putting those bridges in,
Do ya?
2 of them,
Uh-huh.
and Frankie and Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
mean,
going to be, so people, it isn't for those of us that are here, it's people who wanna go back and argue with DOT, because by God, this was presented
I'm
so.
not arguing with the county.
No, step up so other people can hear, this is an important.
You know how many
We
phone
can
calls
hear
I've made, I've got nowhere with it?
Now,
Step up.
let's let him go ahead and.
That's why I'm talking to these guys, not you.
That's, we
I
appreciate
just
that.
wanna get it on the record. We get in trouble.
All right.
Well, alls I have to say is there's more things than the Augusta Rodeo, and
Yep.
there's kids that gotta go to school,
Yes,
and people to work.
right. Yeah.
So-
Do I understand right? You're gonna shut that road down when?
Okay?
It'll be mid-March, late March realistically.
So up until the time of the rodeo.
That's what the schedule shows right now. So you're right, it's gonna be 2.5 months of school, somewhere in there. It's a long
I
time,
can do the math too.
so.
Yeah.
Are there any other ideas for detours? My name's Kim Ramrady, I'm the superintendent at the school. Are there any other ideas as far as detours or possibilities that can be made to work? We don't run a bus out that way.
Mhm.
And so those 8 kids come from 3 different families, and how we can minimize that impact.
Start running a bus tomorrow.
I'm not aware of any other detour options that are even, available or viable. With the knowledge we had with the project team going forward, these are the options that we have. So, if there are others, we're willing to listen. We
Yeah,
certainly
I just didn't
are.
know if a discussion could happen about what other possibilities there are, if any. And what
We're
would minimize that.
definitely willing to listen to any options. We
There's
were,
options that we've never heard the options.
If you're gonna speak, you gotta come back here, I'm sorry, we need to get it on tape so that people understand.
no, that's a good question, I think that's part of yours too. We are willing to sit down and talk with you guys and
There's
see what
ground
options
there,
are
we
there.
could make some routes around and whatnot. I'm pretty sure people will be, I'm willing to do that.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, when I start calving, I got guys coming from 2 in the morning, going home, and what are we gonna do, drive all the way around?
Right.
We could probably make some makeshift detours around to get around it, but if the creek starts running, or if the creek starts running high, it gets muddy, it gets wet. Right now, yeah, it's not a problem, but there has to be a better solution than what you have at the moment to get this done. I'm all for the project,
Mhm.
but we need a solution to get around the problem.
No, and I know, I understand
So,
exactly what you're
that's all I
saying,
have
a
to
3-mile
say, but
detour of
there's,
18 miles. So if you've got ideas though,
Well, how about the state buys some gravel and they fix that road around by the Hoot Colony? These guys would use that too, as well as everybody else. That road, and this is going to you, from the Hooterite Colony, needs to be a fixed road. Year-round passability. That's our way out of town in a short order, if we gotta get out of here. For everybody, the whole community. Louis will stick a grader in that road in 2 seconds trying to plow it. And Louis has no help other than Louis and the part-time guy that plows snow for him. There needs to be 2 guys here year-round. Louis cannot maintain all this himself.
Just to reiterate, you're talking about Bob Thomas,
Yeah, whatever they call that road.
road,
Yeah,
which on my map here is the,
yeah, I know your map.
right, okay. So, that is your suggestion for the,
Yeah, maintain that road, get it fixed up. Maybe the state can give you some money to,
what
Put
have you
some
got,
gravel on it.
what can you guys do to help on that?
But
To
in
get
a
that
few-
done? This is your project, you're the one that's creating the situation. We like the idea of a better road over there,
right?
but it should be part of your cost of doing the job.
Well, and unfortunately, and Jim can maybe chime in on this too some later too, but we, with the federal aid program, which is what we're working with, federal dollars, we can't buy gravel for that roadway. That isn't permanently installed on the project that we're building. We, cumbersome or not, the detour we have is the paved detour around on MDT routes. That's what we're limited with the funding we have.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Candace.
Candace?
What about, of course, I'm used to Jenny and our staff who find grants for all these wild and crazy projects. Could the DOT work the grants and find enough money to provide gravel for that road, which needs to be done anyway? It's not gonna be funded by federal dollars, but there is other way, as
There,
my,
there are other ways of, probably securing that money for gravel there. What I would say on that front is it would be very challenging, if not impossible, to do that by May 2nd, or March 2nd, I mean.
To get the grant?
to get the grant.
Okay, yeah, not, it has to do with shoveling gravel, it has to do with paperwork.
It has to do with just getting the money.
Okay, my next question, your suggestion is for a bus route. And we have the superintendent of schools here, who I hope will trot right up and answer my question. Is there any chance we could get a bus, even temporarily, to help these people? Won't help get their cows fed, but,
Yeah, so approving a new bus route requires going back to the county, which is the group of transportation directors from every school in Lewis and Clark County. So we have to get approval first to run our routes. Our routes are approved in the summer. So there's that piece. But additionally, I would have concerns running a bus on a detour of which isn't maintained. So if that's our option to detour, that's one thing.
but the school bus could take paved route that is DOT controlled, so it would be on a, so I think that takes care of the problem with it not being maintained. We've got a route, it's perfectly good, it's too long to keep people, they don't wanna do it, but it's better than having kids not able to go to school or, riding their horse across the creek to get here.
Well, we have currently,
Horse to school, the superintendent has to take care of it.
so, thank you for reminding everybody. We currently only have two
We
bus
have some
routes.
rules
One is
that
a
go
yellow
with-
bus that requires obviously a CDL passenger driver. On staff, we only have one of those bus drivers. The others are for field trips and things like that. We don't have bus drivers. We're in the same boat that a lot of other school districts are. With the challenges of getting a CDL and the additional training hours and things that are required, we don't have any interest in anybody getting one right now. Our other bus route is a Type E vehicle, which is a Ford Expedition that meets the safety requirements put forth by law. That is currently set going out to Bones Corner. So, and I have yellow buses. I don't have anybody to drive them in the morning. I have a Type E that goes out somewhere else, and I would need county approval to get another one that I don't have somebody to drive.
Okay,
So,
just between you and me, I have dealt with the superintendent of schools for our county. We had a problem with kids crossing York Road, which is a DOT road, to get to Warren School. And the kids are terrified because that's a 60-mile-an-hour highway on that curve, and they're afraid they're gonna get run over. So we put up a stink. The county superintendent of schools went out to look at it. And until the DOT does something to slow the traffic down or do something, meanwhile, Katrina came up with a bus route so we can haul those kids from that subdivision, and it's less than a mile, so it doesn't, but I want some creative problem solving going on here. Maybe you could talk to Jenny, but this is what we want. This is how we're gonna make this work as a community, working together, not, no. There, that's all I have to say
if
about
we
it.
can get creative about getting bus drivers, I'm all
If we
for it
can.
because I've been doing it for 6 years. So, I think we.
Creative
come
of
up
going
with-
around 40 miles is not the answer.
I'm gonna, you guys,
All right.
we're the community.
That is the information I
Thank you.
have for this.
All right.
Thank you.
Go ahead, if you'll state your name and.
Tia Troy.
Fine.
Hi. Is Bob Thomas a county road?
It is a.
So perhaps the county could find,
It's officially a county road.
Mr. Chairman, it is currently a road maintained by the county.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to the legal research to see if it's a historical county road. We haven't adopted it through the county as a resolution as a county road, which we're working on getting that research gathered. But it ranks lower on our priority list as far as all of the roads within the county, so.
okay, perfect.
Yep.
So even though it does rank lower on your priority list, as you can hear from this meeting, access is a big priority for this community. And as you just mentioned, the cooperation and brainstorming and problem solving, perhaps the county could find some money to gravel that road that would eliminate the problem that Justin is referring to. So I would go back to the county. This community does need your support as a part of Lewis and Clark County, and I think that we would probably like to feel that. So that would be something I would recommend and ask you to do and to consider. So Thank you.
I appreciate that, but we've only got so much money.
I hear you, Tom, I hear you loud and
And
clear
we will
on
do
that.
what we can.
But I think you do know.
Can you help us out? Have you got a way to help us out?
We've only got so much money.
Yeah, and I think that this has been an ongoing topic with Augusta and Wilson Park County, and we try to be as supportive as possible. Not that part, Jenny, but the supportive of this community and the people who live here. We do want to feel valued and important to the county, just like every other resident. And I think that this is us saying, hey, county, can you help us out to make sure these kids can get to school, and that Augusta, as Justin mentioned, has an access point to depart this community if needed. So I would leave that with you guys to brainstorm and think of ways. You have a bunch of resources that are happy to brainstorm budget things with you, but I would just, and Candace, I don't really appreciate the face you're making as I'm speaking very kindly, okay? So I would say go ahead and maybe think about where you could pull that money from, because it would be a really good thing. Thank
Might
you.
I comment? Wait a minute.
Sure, I'm happy to listen to you, but I don't have to stand there, so thank you so much.
My comment is, when this happens in other parts of our county, and there is a group that wants to have their road graded or have something fixed on it, we put together an RID, a road improvement district, which means the people who actually use that road pay for it, and the rest of us pay for the, I think Andy calls them everybody roads, as opposed to special, if there's 20 people here, they can pay for the road. It shouldn't be the 900,000 that live it, and we don't have that many, of course, but that could be a solution, but it's a temporary thing.
Right, so just one note of
Say
clarification
your
on
name,
that.
please.
Tia Schroy.
Okay.
Okay, so one note of clarification, we all pay taxes to facilities in Helena that none of us use. You don't hear us complain about that. You don't hear negative sentiment from us. We pay our part. So I don't think that you can say, let's do a rural improvement district all of a sudden before a project that starts in 6 weeks. I don't think that's a feasible solution to this problem, and I think most people would probably agree with that. So I think, again, we all pay our county taxes. So something to consider, perhaps we look at money to gravel a road so we still have access. Because we all do our part to support everybody in the county. So, thank you.
So, as we've all heard this morning from Sheriff Dutton, through the county, through the state, through the community, dollars are a premium. Everybody is looking for dollars. Everybody is trying to get the most out of every dollar they can. We are somewhat unique in what we do and how we handle our projects financially. And we're working with the federal government, FHWA, Transportation Department, funds 80 to 90% of our projects. Along with that comes a lot of strings that are attached to that we have to stay within those constraints. And if we don't, we risk of non-participation from the federal government, them pulling back that 80 to 90% of funds, and we're left as a state, as you folks, to pay for the balance of that project. So we have to be very careful in what we spend our monies on and where we put those dollars. Now, that's to say that we can't come up with solutions to problems as they arise on these projects within the project. So what I'm hearing today is everybody's excited about getting the bridge work done, the new box culvert at the slough. Nobody's disputing that project. It's how are we going to solve the problem of getting kids to school, getting around these projects. And trust me, we in our planning departments and working with the contractors have looked at a lot of opportunities and what we can or cannot do to provide detours and different methods to get through and or around the project. Now, you folks live here, you know a lot of things that we don't. We are, as Rich said, we would be very happy to, soon as the project will be starting here mid to end March, we would be happy to have this conversation with a group. What kind of opportunities do we have? What kind of what is available for us to work with the county, work with the community to provide whatever we need to provide and work together to make this work better. We have worked very hard at putting together a plan. Rich highlighted our time frame in this project. We are working very hard to get our contractors in and out as quick as they can and as efficiently as they can, so we know how it impacts this community with, not with just the rodeo, your tourism, but how it impacts you with the business you do and your kids getting back and forth to school. So we would look for the opportunity and invite the opportunity to sit down with you folks. And what can we do? How can we fix this problem, and what options are available to us? Graveling the road sounds like a great option. Okay, who pays for it, who does it? That's where we gotta get down in the weeds and solve the problems, if that's the option we're going to look at. Are we going to look at some other options maybe we hadn't thought of, because we've got blinders on and we have some constraints that we have to look at when we deal with our projects. If you have some other options that may be available to us, let's have the conversation. We're more than happy to have that conversation. So, thank you.
It's me again, Justin.
You again?
Yeah. Well, all I have to say is, you have a very good point about getting something done, but it doesn't start a month or two from now, it's gotta start today.
That's exactly right, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yep, and we're happy to have that conversation as soon as we can.
If I didn't know this was gonna be that big of a problem, I wouldn't have signed the papers that the bridge would be okay to do. I mean,
Understood.
realistically.
Understood, yes, sir.
I've already went through this deal when it flooded out and they had to put power lines underground through fields I didn't want them in.
Mm-hmm.
So, it starts today, not, it should have started months ago. Somebody
Completely
dropped the
agree with you.
ball months ago when this whole project started.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but the ball's been dropped. Big time.
Come on up, Lloyd.
Lloyd Allen, I just got two easy questions, I think. One is, why can't they build go around these spots for the time it takes to fix it? And the other thing is, I haven't heard anybody mention about the ambulance, the emergency, and myself, I'm dealing with health issues, and I spend more time going up and down the highway than I do anything else. So I haven't heard anything concerned about that issue either, so. That's all I got.
So as far as building around, I can kind of take that one.
Step up.
Are we,
Yeah.
so, as far as building around, I'm assuming kind of like detours around these bridges, is that what you're talking about?
That's right. Just something to get you from point A to point B and still stay safe.
Right, and those were considered in project development. They were ruled out for a couple reasons. One of them was cost. They just were very expensive. They would have almost doubled the cost of the project for the months of delay that we have, just because temporary structures are expensive. Creek's dry. It's a whole lot different if we can predict when that's gonna happen, but that is really the bottom line. We have to maintain an opening for Elk Creek.
Save the
through,
bears.
what's that?
Save the bears.
Right, that's a lot of it. And that's what I'll get into next, is environmental restrictions and what these environmental restrictions will even allow us to do. Those get pretty restrictive on active streams. This one, I'll just back up a little bit to the schedule. It ended up where it is just because of environmental restrictions on when we can get into the streams and into these drainages and even do the work, due to fish and grizzly bears. And it really did hem us in on this was the most efficient time frame we could even make this land in. But those are the reasons why detour structures didn't make it into the design. They were definitely considered while we were designing these, and we just couldn't make them work.
I have another question.
Let me just see if there's any response to that first. Is there any other thoughts to the public?
I got one question.
Rick, come on up.
He just had a knee surgery, why don't you let him stand?
Anyways, whatever.
Stand.
The deal is,
Sit on that.
Just again. So anyways, the one's a ditch, an irrigation ditch. Do you have to have permits for that too?
Is that the Hogan Slough one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That doesn't run water unless I turn my head gate on.
I know. We did discuss these.
I mean, that one, here's my next question. I can go around that probably through my fields like I said previously.
Mhm.
But once you get that done, I can get to the next turn off, I can go around and hit Emerald Lane. But I'm not gonna let the general public go through there.
Right.
But the contractor's got ground lease for me to park his stuff on.
Okay.
So when I leave my house, I'm gonna drive up there and go through my fields on your road.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get the slough bridge in, or culvert or whatever.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna go through another gate and go around that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want any stipulations on that, cause you probably got guys there, I mean, alls I'm getting at is, I can get around, but getting kids to school, that's the main priority.
Right.
I can make stuff work, but the kids to school is a big thing.
It is. Yep.
And you have your wife or whoever and it's nasty out, go do stuff like that, it's not the option. So, I don't know.
Do you have anything more to say?
Nope.
Hey, you know, my thought is, it seems like we've missed in getting some things done that have to be done before we can get this road construction done. As bad as everybody would like the improvements on the road and the better bridges and whatnot, I'm wondering if we don't need to back this project up a little bit in order to get the workarounds taken care of, the bypasses taken care of.
Commissioner, with all due respect, sir, that will not happen. With our funding mechanisms we have, with the federal involvement that we have, with our contractor schedule that we have, all that is involved in that, as close as we are to this project, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it will be very, very disruptive to what we do at MDT and with our funding, federal government, those things that I've talked about. That would be very, very difficult for us to do. I think our better option would be to, let's figure out a solution to this problem. Now, again, with all due respect, if you say some things have been missed, we haven't missed them. We have planned for them to the best of our ability, to the best of what's available to us at the best cost to the taxpayer as we see it from our standpoint. So when we're talking about detours, yes, it is a massive detour and a very disruptive detour. We get that. But again, with the dollars that are available that we have, with the resources that are available to us, this is the best option that we came up with. Now, is it the only option? Maybe, maybe not. We were just, sir, you were just talking about getting around, driving around. Is there an option to, on a private basis, to get those kids around through your field to where they need to go to get them to school? Is that an option open to us? We can't talk about that stuff as the Department of Transportation. We can't look at that stuff. That is way outside of what we do, risk-wise, liability-wise, and cost-wise. Are those options there that we could maybe provide a place for those kids to be dropped off and picked off within the work zone? Maybe, we could certainly have that conversation. But again, for us to, for folks to think that we haven't considered this, we've considered everything within the realm that we have to work with and in the cost range that we have to work with to make this project work for you folks here. May not sound like it may not feel like it, but we certainly have it.
Now can I comment?
I wanna just see if there's a response here.
It goes back to a comment you made earlier about getting some funding from a grant or something like this. I know the county has 6,000 to 7,000 ton of gravel purchased from these guys.
I can't, go ahead, you finish your comment. Then I'll jump in.
Yeah. So, is there a way that you can get a grant or do something like that in a timely manner to sufficiate gravel in that back road?
We could certainly look and see what's available, but I will tell you that grants, applying for the grant, getting the grant approved, getting it distributed is virtually going to be
Too much
impossible in the next month and a half.
Okay, that was my only question.
Now, what about the private, does anybody know of an approach for what you, like you mentioned, a private way of getting their way around that?
That would be something that we would certainly be open to and talking to. I don't know if this is the right forum or the time to do that. Maybe we need to set something up as a community real soon to have that conversation. But we are open to having those conversations, and what can we do to make this work for everybody? I'm just throwing something out on the table
Okay.
as an option.
All right. So I think that what we're talking about is having another meeting here in the next week or so. If somebody has some ideas where it will make that meeting worthwhile.
Certainly
Does that
happy to do
sound-
that. Yep.
Does that sound reasonable? Yes.
Well, you never answered Lloyd's second question. What about emergency services like law enforcement or ambulance or fire department?
They're gonna be held to the same detours that we have in place for, the paved detours from Sims, Bowman's Corner on up to Augusta.
Okay. I'm sure that'll work out fine.
Thank you for,
It's a
thank
good
you for
point.
clarifying that.
Can I
Yeah,
ask?
okay, Candace.
You mentioned, when Lloyd was asking his questions, he suggested, couldn't we have a detour around each of the bridge structures that would be part? And of course, you said, oh, that would probably be too expensive. But, okay, so you got $10 for this, and $10 is her. Okay, and you've got 3 structures that you're rebuilding.
Yep.
$10 here, $10 here, couldn't you take that $30 and enter into an MOU with the county, and that is a memorandum of understanding, I hate 3-letter acronyms, but to allow you to use a county road for a detour, and in exchange for the county allowing you to use this property for a detour, you would contribute the gravel to make it a viable detour. He's gonna say no, but at least we'll have talked.
Well, no, it's really not a no, but on the surface, without getting way down in the weeds on real valid, yes or no on that, I like the idea of that. I do. For this project, unfortunately, it's too late. Because, I mean, we can't realize the savings on a feature of a project that was never bid. We do have the awarded contract. I think there's some merit to the thought process there. But again, like I say, we're under contract. That wasn't included in the plans that were bid, so.
Okay, just before you start,
Just a minute here.
This is just an answer to that question, because I've talked to several DOT people, so.
okay, he is a DOT
I
person.
know, yeah, thank you.
So, so the contract for the current project has been let, and the Fed money cannot be spent on dollars outside of the current project as it is contracted. So we would have to enter into another contract to build the detour?
That,
And if that is the case, perhaps the DOT has neglected to provide a viable detour for this project. And if that is the case, I'm sure my friend Senator Deans would like to hear about it.
Well, I think we have provided a viable detour is the problem.
You have not.
I don't think it's useful.
Nobody agrees with that.
You see all these people, they don't think it's viable. You guys, do you know the phone number to your congressman? Okay,
We're the only ones that hear that feel that way too. We're not,
If you're gonna talk, you're gonna have to come up. Sorry about that. Yes, go ahead.
Tia Choi, I know that you just posed that question to DOT, so there's been several phone calls and conversations had with myself and many members of DOT, including Laura, who's not here today, who's kind of the public spokesperson for this project. My understanding, according to the, 6 DOT officials that I've spoken to, is that the DOT cannot use a county road as a designated detour. Because it's a DOT project, they have to stay on DOT roads. That's the crux of it. So even though you're mentioning that, I don't want anybody here to think like, oh, that's a feasible alternative for them to pay for it. Again, I'm gonna go back and say, county, please look at the funding, or the gravel that's already been purchased from the Hutteray colony that could perhaps be considered. So, thank you.
Go ahead.
Come on up, I just wanna follow up to her point real quick.
Yeah.
Her thing and
So,
Justin's.
she makes a very good point, that we, the Department of Transportation, cannot even designate one of your county roads as a detour road to get around our project. Even though it is a viable, passable road, we cannot say within our jurisdiction or within our narrative that, well, you have this county road that you can use as a detour. We can only designate MDT routes for detour routes. Even if you had a county road out here that would be very passable, very easy, we cannot dictate that. If we come through and pave Main Street here like we did, we cannot say you need to go up First Street or Second Street to get around our project. We can only designate our roads as detour roads.
even if you enter into a memorandum of
That's a whole different
understanding.
story. That's a whole different story. If we do contracts, if we have it in contracts, if we enter into agreements, yes, we can. But we're way past the time to do that for this project. So,
I guess I would have to go back and say, it appears to me that you've moved forward on this without having everything in place that's satisfactory. Maybe I'm wrong
okay.
from your perspective, but it seems to me that we're not, we don't have a satisfactory answer for this. And it needs, and you've moved, it seems to me that you've moved fast.
And that's the impasse that we've reached,
Yeah.
Mr. Commissioner, again, with all due respect, as far as we are concerned and with the constraints that we need to work within, we have looked at the options that are available to us, and these are the options that we have chosen to go with. Now, it's very impactful to this group, I understand that, but with the funds that we have available and the environmental impacts that it would create to this project to build detour routes around the slough, to build detour routes around the Elk Creek structures, as Rich said, it would have doubled the cost of this project. We don't have those funds to put into that type of a solution. It is not the best solution. I completely agree, understand, and feel what it is that you're dealing with right now. I understand that, but I want you to understand that we have not moved on this project without looking into all these things and understanding them.
All right,
Thank you.
go ahead.
I'm with Justin. I think something needs to be done on the road going by. But we've never gotten money from the county for gravel. We've donated that to the county, not one dime. Up to the hill, that's where we donated, all the gravel was all donated to the county. So I think he was on this meeting a year ago, and we talked about this project. I told you guys, why don't you build up Bob Thomas instead of building $1 million detour? And you see you can't do it.
Well, that would be wasteful money, putting $1 million instead of building an alternate route for these kids and the Montana Department of the EMS. I think it would be well worth it fixing Bob Thomas.
I have a question.
I would like, again, sir, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right in your thought process. But again, we as MDT cannot put one dime into that county road. Bob Thomas, is that the name of the road? Yep. We are restricted by how we operate to put any type of money into that roadway. Unless we get federal approval, and I will tell you, to get federal approval to do something like that is not going to happen. Thank you.
Josh Putnam.
If you give your name and.
Josh Putnam. I'm a farrier. I drive that road sometimes 5, 6 times a day, going out there to shoe horses. 21.
Okay.
There's elderly couples out there. I haul water too, 1,000 gallons a week. They're well dried up in April. My bulls are up there on a pasture, and 7 years ago it flooded and washed the bridges out. The county should have dealt with it then, not now. Bob Thomas needs to be gravelled.
Okay, I have a question for Jen.
Just a minute.
Let's do it, gravel.
Got other comments from the public? All right. Do you have any other thoughts that we need to go?
Not today, sir, thank you. I would just, I do.
When can we set up for a time, in the next week? For where people can go back and see what options are available and come back and try to come back with a solution. Anybody have?
That's one question for Jim. Without figuring, how much would it cost to gravel Bob Thomas? Have you put any numbers to that?
Mr. Chairman,
I mean, the
Tom.
gravel is pretty nearby, you wouldn't have to haul it very far.
Tom, it's not just gravel, we'd probably be rebuilding up for pit run, doing some drainage issues as well. We don't wanna just put material on something that's just gonna then wash off, so it would be both a drainage plan, evaluate what the foundation is of that particular gravel road. Do we need to add some more pit run? Because as everybody knows, it's impassable when it rains. And then we have to bring in some new gravel material. And so no, we haven't put together cost estimates for that long road. And keep in mind, this might not only be Bob Thomas, it might also be Eberl Lane, depending upon what might move forward, so.
Eberl Lane ain't gonna do you no good, cause the bridges will be out.
Right, but I had thought that they were gonna open up the slough, that it wasn't gonna be closed the full time. But anyway, we have to look at Bob Thomas.
If you're gonna say something, we need
No,
to have
I'm
it
not
on
going
there
up
so it's
there.
on the record.
The maps, look at your map, the road's out, it don't do.
I'm sorry, I can't have you speaking.
Yeah, I'll
without
speak,
being
I'll
here.
speak for him.
Okay.
So is the bridge gonna be closed on Wayfell Creek? Are all three gonna be closed up to our cattle guard there? There's 3 bridges.
Hogan Slough will be closed once,
I mean, the 21.
and then, right.
Is it gonna be closed?
21 will be closed at Hogan Slough, and then the next phase will close the overflow and Elk Creek.
I mean, is it gonna be closed up to our cattle guard? There's 1, 2, 3 bridges.
No, it won't. You can go in your cattle guard.
I mean, is that bridge gonna be restructured too? Cause it's washed out.
They're putting the
Which-
box culvert in there.
Yeah, that one's the box culvert.
Okay, that one.
What I would like to suggest is that we set up a meeting for a week from today, that everyone go back and come back with their best possible answers, and come back and see if we can come up with something that, let's have Public Works work on this, let's have Montana Department of Transportation take a look at what other options might be available. If any members of the public have ideas that would be a possible, beyond what we've talked about today, let's bring them back in a week and see if we can come up with an answer that makes it, that works for, it may not be perfect, but it works for everybody.
Are you
Is
guys
that
available a
reasonable?
week from today?
I will not be, sir, have plans to head to Colorado next Friday, so I'll be gone for a week and a half, starting next Friday, but.
I think so. I think so. Who's gonna schedule that meeting? Because if we do, then I'd know who to get a hold of in case people aren't able to go.
Who's gonna take the lead here to schedule this meeting for a community conversation?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not available next Friday. I would be more than happy to work on schedules and try to get something scheduled and coordinated. I also would want to check with my staff, my road department staff, to see if we can put some hard numbers together on what a cost would be prior to that meeting. And as you know, our road department works 4/10, so I have to check with their availability too, to see if they can make a
Is there a better day
meet.
than a week from today?
Maybe just a week and a half or something like that. And
So that we
what we
can
could
have-
do is we have the sign-in sheet, we know who was here today. We have the messenger board on the sign. I will work with Rich and Jim to get a meeting scheduled in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, here at the community center, make sure it's available, and we'll get that word out to everybody, the folks that are on the sign-up sheet. I know some of you've contacted the office, I believe we have your contact information. We'll post something on the community sign, so that you know what day and time that is, for a meeting. If that works for you, Mr. Chairman.
And so, possibly 10 days, or
Sure.
would you be back in 10
Sure,
days?
if, why don't we put some dates together? We can have these gentlemen look at their date. These guys know what's going on, and they can speak for me. They have authority to speak for me and decision-making for me, so.
Jenny, would you take the lead on pulling this together?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect, great, thank you.
all right.
So,
All right, anything else?
So to wrap up here today, thank you folks for your comments today. Thank you for voicing your opinions. We're listening. It may not sound like it. We may not come up with the solutions that you want or agree with, but we are trying our best to make this work for everybody here in the community and in the area. So thank you for your time today.
All right. All right.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, is there any other comment about this? We're set on having a meeting in approximately a week to 10 days. We'll get that set up, hopefully right here,
Sure.
okay? All right,
Thank you.
all right. Is there any other, our next regularly scheduled meeting for Augusta Government Day is February 13th. Jenny's gonna work on a meeting for this one topic for the next week, 10 days. We now always set up offer the opportunity for public to talk about any issue that's not on today's agenda, that you'd like to make, the commission aware of. So, is there any any comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda? Is there any public comment? There being none, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Does anybody want a copy of the support letter from Burntale and Dan's business card?
If you want to be contacted, no one put their contact information on here, so if you want to be contacted.
Hey, thank you.
Gotcha. Here's one support letter from Burntale. If they would have gave us money,
I know,
we would have done that. We don't have the